Hi, hello and welcome to this video on OET writing. Well, we have done a lot of videos based on OET writing, especially based on replicated case notes from recent OET exams. In all of these videos, what we have primarily focused is on how to do the data selection, how to organize the ideas, then how to construct sentences, how to develop the purpose paragraph. These were our main focus. Now, in this video, we're going to see the format of an OET letter. That is, apart from this body paragraphs, there is a format that the letter needs to have, which comes above the body paragraph as well as below the body paragraph. You need to have certain sections. So let's see how to develop these opening and closing sections of the OET letter. Now, you can see on the screen how a letter, the skeleton or a blueprint of a letter would be. See, what you can see is an opening section. The letter begins off with an opening section followed by the body paragraphs. And this is one. Body paragraphs is one area which we have often discussed regarding. That is, this body paragraphs include the purpose paragraph, the expansion paragraphs, and the recommendation paragraphs. All of this comes in this body paragraphs. And after the body paragraphs, your letter needs to end with a closing section as well. Now we are going to see what do you mean by this opening section and what is this closing section. Okay. You can see a case note on screen, just the initial part of the case note, which contains the basic patient details, then about the writer's role, then date and so on. And then here you can see the writing task as well. I've not included the other patient details because in developing the opening and closing sections, you don't need those details. Actually, in developing the body paragraphs, we need the details of the patient to build the story of the patient. But in writing the opening section and the closing section, these details are sufficient. That is the details from the writing task and the details from this initial part of the case note. Now, first, let's figure out how to write the opening section of the letter. Now, these are the details that we have to include in the opening section of the letter. That is date, reader's address, then reference line, opening salutation. Now, what do they mean? I'll show you. Now, date means either you can write today's date. Now, where do we get this today's date? In the case note, at the very beginning of the case note, you'll have information given in the case note like you can see here. Assume that today's date is 10th February 2019. So when today's date is given in the case note, we have to start out the letter with this date. Suppose if today's date is not given, then we can go for the discharge date. If today's date is not given in the case note, in most of the cases, today's date will be given. If at all today's date does not appear in the case note, then we can start off the letter with the discharge date. Okay. So here, since today's date is given, we have written today's date as 10th February 2019. Now, regarding the format of the date, students have confusion in what format we have to write the date. Can we write it in all digits format or should it be a combination of digits and word? Here, we have used a combination of digits and word. That is totally acceptable. In fact, any internationally accepted date format is permitted. But the thing is that you have to maintain that consistency. With whatever format you start off the letter, the same date format should be applied throughout the letter wherever you are referring to a date. That's the only thing that you need to keep in mind. That is, for instance, if you write 10th February 2019 here, inside the body of the letter, if you have to mention a date, it should not be in the all digits format. That's it. Now, once you write the date, as I've mentioned here, either it can be today's date. If today's date is given, go for today's date. Else, write the discharge date. Okay. So after writing the date, you need to leave a line. That's why the space has been provided. As you know, you do your letter writing in a ruled paper. So once you write the date, you have to leave a line. And then after writing the date, this is the first detail. And after writing the date, what you need to write is the reader's address. Now, where do we get the reader's address? We get the reader's address from the writing task. All the details regarding the reader, that is who the reader is, what is the address of the reader, what is the service that the reader has to provide to a patient, all of these will be included in the writing task. So from the writing task, task, we get the details of the reader. So as per the given writing task, the reader's name is Ms. Georgine Ponsford and the designation is resident community nurse. You have mentioned that. Then the location, community retirement home, 103 Light Street, Newton. All of the details in the address have been written one below the other. Now, another confusion in this area when they write the address that students have is that should we put a comma at the end of each line of the address? See, there's no hard and fast rule regarding this. If you want, you can put a comma. It's not going to be wrong. But here also, again, you have to maintain consistency. When you're closing the letter, wherever necessary, when you write yours faithfully or yours sincerely, there also you will have to apply the comma. That's it. If you're not putting the comma, make sure that you don't put it anywhere in the format. But if you are applying the comma, make sure that you do it consistently. Now that we have written the reader's address, again, you need to leave a line. You've written the date, then you've written the reader's address, and then again, you have to leave a line. Now, regarding this reader's address and date, this also you can write it interchangeably. That is, either you can write the reader's address first and then write the date, or vice versa. Both are acceptable. Okay. Once you write these both, that is today's date and the reader's address, then the next thing that you have to write is what is called as the reference line, or we call it as the RE line. Now, what are the details that we need to include in the reference line? The first detail that we need to include is the full name of the patient, full name of the patient as it is given in the case note with title. Title means Mr., Miss, Mrs., whatever it is. So along with the title, you have to mention the full name of the patient in this RE line. Now, I have mentioned here adult greater than 16 years, which means that we need to mention the title only if the patient is an adult, that is greater than 16 years of age. If the patient is a child, 16 or less than 16, then you just need to mention the full name, no need to mention the title, even though the title is mentioned in the case note. The title would be given in the case note for the candidate to identify the gender of the patient, but that doesn't mean that you have to use that title in the letter if the patient is a child. So if the patient is an adult greater than 16 years of age, then full name with title should come in the RE line. As you can see here in the RE line, first the title and the full name has been mentioned. Then the next detail that you have to write in the RE line is first is patient name, full name of the patient, and the next detail is date of birth or age. Both of these are fine. Either of these is fine. So if date of birth is given, you can write date of birth. If age is given, you can go with that. So here in this case note, age of the patient is given. So we have written age 63 years. Instead of age, if date of birth was given, we would be writing DOB and we would be writing the date of birth here. And here again, when you write the date of birth, it should be in the same date format as we have written the today's date. Now, once RE line is also done with, you have to leave a line again here and then you write the opening salutation. Now, opening salutation is nothing but that dear, you're addressing the reader. Dear, you just need to write the reader's second name. Full name of the reader is Miss Georgine Ponsford, but you need not write the full name of the reader. You can just write the reader's second name. Okay. Now here also, when you write the RE line and opening salutation, this can also be written in the reverse order. That is, you can write the opening salutation first and then you can write the RE line. That is also fine. So this is what we call as the opening section of the letter before we get into the body paragraphs. I hope that is clear. Now make sure that after each of these details, that is date, reader's address, RE line and opening salutation, you need to leave a line after you write each section, each detail in the opening section, and make sure that all your writing is aligned to the left side of the paper. Now, once you're done with the opening section, then you write the body paragraphs, which include the purpose paragraph, the expansion paragraphs, and the recommendation paragraph. Once that is done, we get into the closing section of the letter. Now, what are the details that you need to include in the closing section of the letter? Let's see. These are the details that you need to have: a closing statement, signing off, and the writer's designation. Now, what do you mean by these? Closing statement is nothing but just a formal line where we write, if you have any queries or questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Respective of what the letter type is, whether it be a referral letter or transfer letter or discharge letter, we just formally write this closing line. This is called as the closing statement. Then signing off, yours sincerely. That is what we mean by signing off or closing salutation. And then you write your writer's designation. The writer is always a nurse. If you're a charge nurse, you can write charge nurse. If you are a community health nurse, you can write community health nurse. Whatever is mentioned or however it is mentioned in the case note, write here as such. Now these are the only details that you need to have in the closing section. This sentence, if you have any further queries, please do not hesitate to contact me. Then yours sincerely, and then that is the writer's designation. Now, another possibility is that in some situations, if the reader's name is not given. For instance, if the writing task is like this, using the information given in the case notes, write a discharge letter to resident community nurse at the community retirement home. Here the reader's name is not given, just the reader's designation is given. So in that case, what we should be doing? Should we imagine a name? No. How can we handle that? I'll show you. In such situations, how you can write the opening salutation is that instead of writing dear and the reader's second name, that's what we have seen just now. If the reader's name is given, we write the opening salutation by writing dear and then the reader's second name. But since here the reader's name is not given, you can write dear, the reader's profession can be written. If it's a nurse, you can write dear nurse. If it's a doctor, you can write dear doctor. Or if it's a manager of a nursing home, you can also write dear sir or madam. That is also fine. That is, if the reader's name is not known, either you can write the reader's profession or you can generally write dear sir or madam. And in that case, there's a small change in the closing section also. Earlier, what did we see? That is, in the closing section, you have written the closing salutation as yours sincerely. But if the reader's name is not given, we usually don't write yours sincerely. Instead of yours sincerely, you write yours faithfully. And then same, your designation, charge nurse. So these are the two differences that you'll have if the reader's name is not given. If the reader's name is not given, in the opening salutation, you write dear and the reader's designation. And in the closing section, instead of yours sincerely, you write yours faithfully. So the points that you have to keep in mind is that after each section, you need to leave a line and then all your writings should be aligned to the left margin. What you need to understand is that the details which you write in the opening and closing sections do not contribute towards the word count of the letter. The word count of the letter is counted only for the body paragraphs, starting from the purpose paragraph through the body paragraphs up to the recommendation paragraph. And when the examiner or the assessors gives you feedback for your letter, there also the opening and closing sections are not a deciding factor. Now, does that mean can we completely ignore these sections? No, definitely no. Because to be considered it as a formal letter, you need to have these opening and closing sections. But what I would like to say is that you need not pay too much attention or you need not be too worried about these opening and closing sections. If there are minor errors in the opening and closing sections, that is not going to bring a huge change or it's not going to impact your score in a big way. It won't be affecting your score. Okay, so hope you have got an idea on how to write the opening and closing sections and you would be applying this when you write the letter next time. We'll be back with more such videos. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Medcity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.